I woke up in sheer terror, my heart pounding in my chest like a machine gun, my brain frantically trying to process what was happening. I could hear my wife, Cindy.
Doctor, is he going to be okay?
We're doing all we can, Mrs. Sherwood.
Bits and pieces came rushing back to me. The sudden tightness in my chest, searing pain shooting up my arm, the paramedics arriving, the screaming sirens. Then my mind took me back to Iraq, that day on patrol in Fallujah. That was the last time I'd been on a table like this, in a field hospital after nearly getting blown to pieces. God had other plans for me that day, some reason to spare me. And when I went home, the good Lord's blessings continued. So I told myself I would survive this day too. Yet I lay there helpless, hooked up to those machines. I saw another vision of my father. I watched over him in his final days, in this same hospital, dying a slow, agonizing death due to his failing prostate. He was the toughest man I'd ever known, the rock of our family, now reduced to a shell of his former self, laying there in pain and humiliation. A young nurse shoving a catheter down his pee hole every few hours to stop him from dribbling a few drops of bloody urine onto the sheets. As he drifted in and out of consciousness, moaning helplessly as the toxins flooded his bloodstream until his kidneys shut down completely. It wasn't until after my dad passed that my mother told me just how bad his prostate problem had become. He'd been too proud to tell me of the crippling pain and suffering, how he rarely left their house for the last year of his life because he hated wearing a diaper. Yet he was terrified of feeling that burning, excruciating need to go without a bathroom nearby. How he never slept for more than an hour straight because he was constantly waking up and hobbling to the toilet, only to have a few weak droplets painfully dribble out. My mother told me of the medications he'd been put on by specialists who assured him his condition was treatable, but each medication was not only outrageously expensive, they came with crushing side effects such as total impotence, which stripped away his dignity and drove him deeper into despair. And then kidney failure, which got him put on a dialysis machine and robbed him of whatever will to live he had left. I thank God for allowing me to leave the hospital and go home a few days later, and especially for the miracle that followed. A miracle that led me to an all-natural 10-second bedtime ritual that renewed my health, vitality, and manhood, and is now helping over 19,270 men around the world for just pennies a day. Instead of costly and dangerous drugs or undergoing prostate surgeries which have left some men sexually crippled for life, now there's a 100% natural way to restore prostate health, protect this essential part of your manhood for the future, and turn back the clock on your sexual function. Because if you've been noticing a decline in your sex drive, if you haven't been getting the fully firm, raging hard erections you enjoyed in your younger years, or if you don't feel in control of your ejaculations, if you finish too quickly, can't finish at all, or wish you could once again enjoy explosive, fully pleasurable orgasms, or if you've been feeling less sensitive down there and sex doesn't feel as good as it once did, then this will be the most important presentation you watch this year, because you're about to discover how all of these issues are connected and how they all come from the same root cause and why it all has to do with your prostate health. Most importantly, in the next 6 minutes, I'll go beyond the lies and deceptions of Big Pharma to give you this completely safe, all-natural fix, which you can trust completely. Because as you'll see, it's backed up by thousands of years of living proof, as well as modern scientific studies by leading doctors and universities. You'll want to pay close attention, because this is not what you might be thinking. It's not about giving up the food you love or changing any habits. It's not about exercise. In fact, this doesn't involve any effort at all. And if you've tried treatments in the past that let you down, I feel your frustration, because I've been there. And as I tell you my incredible story, you'll see I became desperate enough to try anything. I'm going to share with you highly personal and even embarrassing details, which I wasn't sure I should put on the internet. But now that I'm getting messages from men around the world thanking me for sharing my 10-second ritual and telling me how it's changed their lives, I feel I'm honoring the second chance that the good Lord gave me. Yet because this 10-second ritual attacks the root cause and reverses these issues 100% naturally without any need for expensive medications, the big pharma billionaires want to shut me down. Now that this presentation is going viral, I've got a bullseye on my back, which is why this presentation could vanish at any time. So watch this now while you can until the very end. First, I must ask you, are you showing any warning signs of a prostate problem? Because the 10-second bedtime ritual that gave me back the hardest steel erections, deep, restful, rejuvenating sleep, and unstoppable confidence I had at 25 years old, all has to do with BPH. Benign prostatic hyperplasia is also known as prostate gland enlargement. Your prostate is a muscular gland between your bladder and penis. Normally, it's around the size of a walnut, and it's a key part of what makes us men. Your prostate creates special enzymes and hormones that activate your sperm. When you ejaculate, your prostate pushes it out. But as we get into our 40s and beyond, it begins to weaken and swell up. In half of men over 50, it balloons up to the size of a lemon. This puts pressure on your bladder, which causes you to feel an urge to urinate even when you don't need to. Meanwhile, your body begins to produce a manhood-destroying chemical that no one has been telling you about. But before I tell you about this dangerous chemical and how it slowly destroys our manhood, let's see if you've been experiencing any of these warning signs of a swollen prostate. Have you been waking up at night to go to the toilet? Have you been urinating more than usual, but you feel like you can't fully empty your bladder? After you think you're done, do you get any leakage? Do you have trouble urinating at all, like your bladder feels the need to go but nothing comes out? Has the volume of your ejaculations become noticeably smaller? These are all indicators of BPH. And if you don't take action now, using this simple 10-second ritual I'm going to hand you shortly, the act of urinating can become uncomfortable, even painful, to the point where every drop of pee feels like a curse. And this may already be affecting your sexual function. As your prostate swells and grows weaker, it can reduce your sex drive and interfere with your ability to get and keep an erection, and kill the pleasure you get from finishing, because your ejaculations go from being a great big gush to a puny, pitiful dribble. Over time, as your prostate becomes inflamed, you may not want to ejaculate at all because it causes you intense, burning pain, like trying to squeeze out razor blades. And you don't want this, so watch this next part closely. Nearly every man is missing one thing that holds the key to boosting and protecting your prostate function. And in my case, having to constantly get up and go to the bathroom during the night became more than annoying. It was wrecking my energy and mood during the day because I wasn't getting the deep, restful sleep we need to function properly. It was also slowly destroying my sex life with my wife. I could barely remember what it felt like to get a raging, stiff erection and enjoy great sex and a satisfying finish. On the rare occasions when I could get hard, when it was time to unload, it felt nothing like my younger years. Instead of blowing a thick, satisfying load and feeling intense relief, my ejaculations were like trying to squeeze the last few drops out of an empty tube of toothpaste. Yet once I discovered my simple ritual, I was able to turn back the clock on my prostate and restore its full function, back to when I was in my 20s and feeling like a bulletproof stud. It also feels great knowing I'm supporting and protecting my prostate for the future. And today, now that I'm using this simple bedtime ritual, I'm sleeping through the night like a baby, peeing like a racehorse, and my ejaculations are like volcanic eruptions. No more dribbles or drops, or that irritating feeling that I need to pee when I really don't. And now that I'm getting full strength, vein bulging erections again, I feel more sensitive down there too, which makes sex feel more exciting and pleasurable than it's been in years. My favorite part? When it comes time for me to unload, I'm launching cannon blasts that give me 10 times more pleasure and make my wife moan with delight. That's an extra bonus I'd never expected. When you can spray your woman with a massive money shot, it's the sign of a virile, dominant alpha male, and it turns a woman on like crazy. Men of any age can perform again like when they were 25 years old once they know this one thing. Because what I'm about to show you isn't a temporary treatment. It's not putting a band-aid on the problem. This 10-second bedtime ritual attacks the root cause of the problem and reverses it. The so-called experts might tell you that a weak prostate and all of the headaches and sexual problems that come with it are just a fact of getting older. But none of this needs to happen. There's a hidden reason why men develop these problems around your age, and you'll soon understand this reason and see that none of this is your fault. It's not about your lifestyle. It isn't about the wrong diet or not enough exercise. It's about knowing the hidden root cause and the 10-second bedtime ritual that fixes it safely and all naturally. But first, I feel like you should know my story and how the good Lord gave me this second chance to share it with you. My name is Nick, and this is my wife, Cindy. But that's not me with her in the picture. That's the younger man she cheated on me with after 15 years together. The worst part is, I couldn't really blame her because I let our sex life die. Not because I stopped loving her or no longer found her attractive, and not because she was giving me the "not tonight, I've got a headache" excuse. I adored my gorgeous wife. She still turned heads wherever we went, and she never lost her desire for sex. It was my sex drive that had fizzled out, and getting an erection and keeping it made trying to do it a chore. I'd gone to my doctor and gotten a prescription for the little blue pills, but the side effects were brutal. Blurred vision, pounding headaches. I couldn't even finish. My body, my confidence, my manhood. When I reached middle age, it all seemed to fall apart so quickly. What hurt even worse was that I used to pride myself on keeping in shape. I used to be a college athlete and a lean, mean U.S. Marine. But while I was still in my 40s, I was already feeling old, slow, aching, and throbbing in places I'd never noticed before. And never feeling rested because I couldn't get a good night's sleep. I was waking up to pee 5 or even 10 times a night. But when I'd stand over the bowl, I could barely squeeze out a few sad little drops. Then back to bed, only to wake up an hour later with my bladder throbbing again. It's why I could barely get through the day at my job, much less stick to an exercise routine. So I started putting on weight, especially around my belly, and the aches and pains grew worse. And as if this wasn't depressing enough, my hair was rapidly disappearing. I had no idea this was all due to the same hidden root cause, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But back then, when I went to my doctor and got my blood work done, all he gave me was the standard advice: lose weight, cut back on the alcohol, and so on. So I tried every natural fix I came across. I went on a diet, started taking morning walks, tried Chinese acupuncture, went to a nutritionist and bought all kinds of herbs and vitamins, and I even went to a hypnotherapist who could supposedly cure my erectile dysfunction. But the needle on my scale was barely budging. I still couldn't satisfy my wife, and my urination issues were getting worse. The worst part was knowing I was letting down my family. Like the day of my son Tommy's championship baseball game. I'd never seen him so excited. In the bottom of the 9th inning, with the game on the line, he stepped up to the plate and blasted a home run. As Tommy's coaches and teammates swarmed him, celebrating their victory, Tommy looked up to the stands searching for me. But I wasn't there. I was in the bathroom, forced to go again by my throbbing bladder. I'll never forget the crushed look on his face when he saw me walking back towards the field, and Cindy and I were growing further apart. Deep down, I knew I was failing her, because women still want and need that intimacy. And when you don't give it to her, or can't give it to her, she begins to feel ashamed, unwanted, and unloved. She worries you no longer find her attractive. She may suspect you're getting your needs fulfilled by someone else. She might even start looking to satisfy her needs with someone else. I hated letting Cindy down and feeling like some sorry excuse for a man. And eventually, we were barely speaking at all. Until one night, I made that desperate mistake that nearly blew up my heart like a grenade. On the way home from work, I stopped at a gas station. I saw some crazy-looking boner booster pills behind the counter. That night was Cindy's birthday. I know it sounds crazy, but I was desperate. I thought maybe I could give her a big surprise later, show her I could still make love to her like a man and make things right between us. So I bought a couple of packs. I didn't read the warning on the back that said to only take one and to not mix them with alcohol, which resulted in a surprise, all right, a heart attack which nearly killed me. Imagine surviving 2 combat tours in Iraq and dying from some gas station dick pills. I could have died of embarrassment or shame when I saw the worried look in my children's eyes, seeing me laying in that bed, helpless, hooked up to machines, the way I once looked at my dying father. I felt like a failure as a husband, as a father, as a man. At the rate I was going, would I live to see my son graduate from high school or walk my little girl down the aisle at her wedding day? How long would it be before I wound up a burden on my family or a helpless invalid like my old man? In a moment of despair, I told Cindy she's better off divorcing me. She got furious when I said it, but I know it had crossed her mind. 2 weeks later, she had to go to Las Vegas for a sales conference, and I didn't know it, but that's where my marriage was put to the ultimate test by a younger man who did have the power to satisfy her needs. I'll share those gut-wrenching details with you in a moment. But with Cindy out of town, I decided it was time to get to the bottom of my manhood problems. I found a new doctor, hoping this time I'd get some real answers, and told him about my list of problems. He checked me out and said the main issue was a swollen prostate. That didn't sound all that bad until the treatment he told me about sounded like something out of a horror movie. He recommended a common procedure, which involves taking a sharp tool and shoving it into your pee hole to scrape away excess prostate tissue. The thought of this sent chills up my spine. Yet as gruesome as that sounds, the side effects sounded even worse. More on that shortly. I went to another doctor for a second opinion. He told me about alpha blocker medications, which relax the muscles in your prostate and bladder to make it easier to pee. But when I went home and got on the computer to do my own research, I saw they come with side effects including dizziness, fainting, and headaches. And even a weird condition called retrograde ejaculation, which causes sperm to flow backwards into your bladder instead of going out through your penis. Even some medical professionals are extremely concerned about these drugs. A professor of biochemistry and urology at Boston University School of Medicine said, in order to reduce the negative impact on overall health and quality of life, physicians need to discuss with their patients the potential adverse side effects. He was referring to a study published in the journal Hormones, Molecular Biology and Clinical Investigations, which warned of the damaging effects caused by alpha blockers, which also included increased risk for diabetes, liver disease, and worsening erectile dysfunction. So these drugs might make it easier to pee, but good luck getting a hard-on ever again. Then there are the wallet-busting prices of these treatments. Over $93,000 to get treated with a course of Provenge. Are you kidding me? Or how about Zytiga? This one will run you $5,000 a month. And there are newer drugs on the way which may cost tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars for one round of therapy. These days, prostate treatments are one of Big Pharma's gold mines. This one slice of the market is on track to generate $12 billion per year. As for that tissue scraping procedure, I read reports on internet forums from men who'd suffered through it. Some patients complained of sinking into a deep depression afterwards, because while it shrank their prostates back to a normal size, the surgery left them never able to have intercourse again. After multiple doctor visits and endless hours of internet research, I was left with more questions than answers. All I knew was that too many men are signing up for prostate treatments without understanding the risks and regretting it forever. And now that Cindy was back from her trip to Las Vegas, I had to do something fast. 2 nights later, my marriage turned into every man's worst nightmare. Cindy and I weren't talking much by that point. She was glued to her laptop every night, messaging back and forth with someone, keeping the screen hidden from my view. She told me her friend from work was going through a breakup and she was lending her support, but I had a feeling it was something else. Then one night I came home late after working an overtime shift. Cindy was in the shower, her laptop was open on the bed. I glanced at it and saw her Facebook chat box was open. Normally, I would have respected her privacy, but a voice in my head told me to take a closer look. And that's when I saw a chat between her and some guy that had ended just minutes ago. Antonio was his name. He seemed familiar. Then I remembered it. I met him at my wife's company Christmas party. He looked like some Spanish soap opera star, a Latin lover type. And when I met him, I got the feeling he was a bit too interested in my wife. And their chat only confirmed my suspicions. That's when Cindy came out of the bathroom and saw me reading the messages. She broke down in tears and confessed everything. How on the final day of the Vegas trip, her company hosted a pool party at a private villa. Too much alcohol was consumed, and Antonio confessed his feelings and made a move on her. And in a moment of drunken stupidity, she gave in and allowed him to kiss her. But that was all that happened, she swore to me. Cindy said she pushed him away and went straight back to her hotel room. She stared at me, waiting for me to react, but at that moment, I wasn't sure what to feel. Anger, sorrow, self-pity, those emotions and others raged through me. Most of all, I felt disappointment in myself for letting it come to this. I took Cindy in my arms and I hugged her. "I don't understand what's happening to us," she said through her tears. "I just want things to be the way they used to." I would have given anything to lay her down on the bed and make love to her. But I knew my equipment wouldn't cooperate. So I just said, "I want that too, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen." I didn't tell her about my visits to the doctors or the treatment options, but I knew I couldn't afford the medications, which meant going under the knife and taking the ultimate gamble with my manhood might be my only hope of saving my marriage and probably my life. But the next day, an unexpected glimmer of hope arrived. A notification came in on my phone. Someone had responded to a post I had written on a Facebook group about men's health. I'd forgotten about it, but a week ago I'd explained my situation to the group and asked if anyone had tried the prostate treatments I was considering. This response came to me from a man named Mike Manning. "Nick, I'm a health researcher and I'm developing what I believe is a natural solution for the issues you're going through. Get in touch with me." When I Googled Mike's name, I was impressed to see that he's the creator of hugely popular programs for men such as ED Elixir, and he's famous for coming up with all-natural formulas which combine ingredients direct from Mother Nature that reverse and fix common male issues. To create his formulas, Mike often looks to ancient history, back when modern science and drugs didn't exist, yet people of certain primal civilizations lived amazingly long, healthy, and active lives. And men were virile and sexually potent well into their golden years. I contacted Mike, he sent me his phone number, and we wound up talking for hours. He seemed to be 100 times more passionate and knowledgeable than the doctors I had spoken to, and he gave his answer to the crucial question, why does our male equipment start malfunctioning at a certain age, and how do we fix it naturally? As we age, our bodies convert testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. Too much DHT causes harmful effects such as hair loss and prostate enlargement. DHT can attach itself to cells in your prostate. Your body sees this as an attack and sends white blood cells to fight off the invaders, the same way it sends white blood cells to heal a cut or battle an infection. When white blood cells pour into an area of your body, it causes swelling or inflammation. So now your prostate becomes inflamed and swollen. And because it's pushing up against your bladder, you feel like you need to pee, even when your bladder is empty. Sleepless nights follow. Your new evening ritual involves running between your bed and the bathroom, only to dribble out a few drops. And this goes way beyond being an inconvenience, because when you're not getting a full night of sleep, your energy is depleted. Your immune system is weakened, you become unfocused, anxious, and irritable. Your weak prostate isn't producing the male enzymes and hormones it's supposed to. Your sex drive and erections suffer too, and you're stuck in a downward spiral where your body lacks the strength to repair itself, so your situation only gets worse. Yet there are natural ingredients which have been proven for centuries to destroy DHT, cleanse your system, and supercharge your sex drive and erections. And Mike told me he'd been working on a special blend for men like me who were suffering from these exact issues. He asked if I'd be interested in trying it. Now I'll admit, I was skeptical. I'd already spent a small fortune on natural treatments that were supposed to help but only cost me time and money. But I had nothing to lose. Mike emailed me a list of the ingredients to buy, along with the instructions on how to mix them in the right dosages to create a daily drink. Except for one rare final ingredient he needed to send me. Mike explained that although it's possible to buy this ingredient online, he knew a source where he could get the purest, highest quality. A few days later, a package arrived on my doorstep. Inside was a pouch containing a black powder. It looked like some type of medicine you'd see a shaman use in a movie. It smelled sort of like tree bark and had a strange, sweet taste. Mike's instructions said each drink required only a tiny pinch of this stuff, since it was extremely potent, as well as being rare and expensive. By now, I'd rounded up the other ingredients from health food stores and websites. It wasn't easy or cheap. A 30-day supply cost me just over $297. I was ready to mix my first drink. Mike said I should consume it within an hour of going to bed because some of the ingredients have scientifically proven sleep-enhancing benefits. The next morning, I could have sworn I was already feeling some effects, some tingling and stiffening in my penis, as if the blood flow was pumping again. I followed Mike's prostate formula protocol. When I excitedly reported back to him 2 weeks later, I told him about less trips to the bathroom at night, down from 10 to 15 per night to 3 to 4 per night, and stronger streams of urine instead of a weak trickle. less discomfort with my bladder. I was falling asleep quickly, and the quality of my sleep was much deeper and more restful, which meant more energy in the morning, waking up with a clear head and more focus and a better mood throughout the day. Less brain fog and higher energy levels in the afternoons. Gains with my sexual function. Cindy and I actually made love a few times. I wasn't getting fully firm erections, but there was definite improvement. After 30 days, I was really starting to feel a transformation. I was waking up fully refreshed, excited about the day ahead. My renewed energy inspired me to be more active, which caused my excess weight to melt away, especially that ugly spare tire that used to hang over my belt. My bladder issues were much improved, and my erections were solid, so Cindy and I were making love regularly. Mike wanted me to keep going, and I didn't want to stop. After 60 days, my coworkers and boss were amazed by the changes in me. I was getting full-strength erections on command and lasting as long as I wanted. But the real breakthroughs came around the 90-day mark. Mike was expecting this. My sex drive hadn't been this strong since I was in my 20s. Cindy and I were screwing like we were on our honeymoon, and both of us were enjoying explosive climaxes. My prostate issues had mostly disappeared. When I urinated, I was letting out a full, heavy stream that I swear could melt a snowbank. This brought me closer to my son Tommy because now I wasn't just watching him play sports from the sidelines, I was out there coaching and practicing with him. And I looked and felt leaner and more confident because my body was constantly flushing out the DHT and my veins were pumping with natural, high-powered testosterone. This is when I told Mike Manning, this is something every man needs to protect and improve their erections and prostate function. The impact this had on my health, my marriage, and my family was so incredible. It would have gone against the good Lord's teachings for me to keep this to myself while so many are suffering. But the way I saw it, there were several challenges. Tracking down the ingredients was a hassle. They were expensive, and some people don't want to be bothered with measuring dosages so they can mix a drink every day. Doing it this way takes time and effort and makes it hard to stick to. It reminded me of the time I saw a documentary about the health benefits of juicing. I got so excited I ran out and bought a juicing machine and a shopping cart full of vegetables. But it only lasted a week because I hated buying the vegetables, making the juice, then spending 20 minutes cleaning the gunk out of the machine. I'd rather just buy the juice. Wouldn't you? And then there was the mystery ingredient in the pouch Mike sent me. What was it? And could anyone get their hands on it? Or would it be too hard to get or too costly? This is when Mike had an idea. He wasn't sure if it would be possible, but he contacted his trusted USA lab and asked if they could turn his prostate formula into capsules. He'd already partnered with this state-of-the-art facility to create a line of popular health supplements for men. Yet this prostate formula was more complicated than the others. It took months to figure it out and get it exactly right. But the breakthrough formula in capsule form is now here. PX7 Primal Flow. 2 capsules per day taken before you sleep is the simple 10-second bedtime ritual every man our age needs. Once Mike Manning began to share the supplement with a private test group of his customers, the rave reviews started coming in. Jonathan P. from St. Louis, Missouri wrote, I always needed to make sure I was close to a bathroom. I had to swear off caffeine, spicy foods, and alcohol because it just made things worse. But now I feel I've gotten my freedom back and I can enjoy those things again. I take 2 capsules every night and my worries are gone. Mark S. from Westchester, New York said, I work out hard and I try to eat clean, but my body felt like it was falling apart and my need to pee during the night was ruining my sleep. Thanks to PX7 Primal Flow, I'm now sleeping soundly through the night and enjoying more energy and better sex. When it comes to the sexual benefits of this manhood-boosting blend, Chris M. from Sarasota, Florida had more to say. Since I started using PX7 Primal Flow, I've been waking up with morning wood like I haven't in years. Yesterday, my girlfriend was in the shower and I couldn't help myself. I got in there with her and banged her so hard we probably woke up half the neighborhood. She can't believe the difference in me. We're both loving it. And Willie G. from Austin, Texas proudly stated, this stuff is awesome. I'm 62 years young and I've only been taking this for about 2 weeks and I'm already getting random erections throughout the day. I'm staying hard for a long time too. Feels amazing. Ordering more today before it runs out. Now let me reveal some of the secret ingredients and the 5-step chain reaction they create when combined. Step 1, accelerated absorption. Because these ingredients come from the purest locations and are formulated in a state-of-the-art USA lab, they're easy for the body to absorb. Imagine these specially selected ingredients entering your system and your body immediately puts them to use. This is because your body has been craving these nutrients. In almost a fraction of a second, they're pumping through your system. Step 2. DHT destruction. Right now, you've got years or even decades of DHT built up in your prostate. Every capsule of PX7 Primal Flow contains a rare plant, which is known as the #1 enemy of DHT. That's according to Medical News Today. Native Americans used it as a male fertility supplement for hundreds of years. This blend also contains not one, but 3 Japanese mushrooms. The reishi mushrooms on their own are a powerful defense against your testosterone converting into DHT. The other 2 mushrooms lend extra backup, so that every time you visit the bathroom and release a fire hose stream, you're flushing more DHT out of your body. Step 3. Potent purification. During this step, ingredients such as tomato fruit powder go to work, wiping out toxic bacteria that have been clogging your system for years. You also get the benefit of cat's claw, an anti-inflammatory medicine used by indigenous cultures who live along the Amazon River in South America. Step 4. Enhance sexual power. Here's where 2 more essential ingredients come to your aid: stinging nettle root, a proven firming agent for erections, and a berry extract that is legendary as a natural sex drive booster. They combine to turn back the clock on your libido while boosting the firmness and power of your erections. Step 5. Flow support and strengthening. This formula also includes broccoli leaf extract and natural green tea. These ingredients support prostate healing and healthy urine flow to help you empty your bladder to the last drop. In addition, you'll get the benefits of zinc, which promotes natural testosterone production and acts as an aphrodisiac. In fact, 2 capsules of PX7 Primal Flow is like eating a platter of zinc-rich seafood, including oysters. And all of these benefits will be enhanced, and you'll enjoy better overall health and performance when you improve the quality of your sleep. This is why each capsule of PX7 Primal Flow also includes vitamin E and vitamin B6, which helps to produce serotonin and melatonin. Both are key for sound, peaceful sleep, which results in you feeling fully recharged and energized. PX7 Primal Flow also includes a proprietary blend of 15 herbs that regulate your body's natural hormonal balance while increasing your body's natural ability to fight off bacteria and neutralizing DHT whenever it appears in your system. As for the mystery ingredient, the black powder that Mike sent me at the beginning of my journey, he figured out how to include it in each capsule of PX7 Primal Flow without raising the cost to you, even though it's the rarest ingredient of them all. Which is why it took Mike months of negotiating with suppliers until he managed to find one that works with a remote farm high up in the mountains of Madagascar that harvests the freshest and purest form of the plant that produces this ingredient, which is then hand-picked using traditional practices. Once you ingest it, it binds to androgen receptors in the body that literally shrink the prostate. It also binds to and blocks 5-alpha reductase, a chemical compound that increases the amount of DHT in your body, especially after the age of 45. Men in Madagascar over the age of 50 consume this plant regularly and are known to have healthy prostates and sex lives extending into their 70s, 80s, and even beyond. As you can see, no expense was spared in the research and creation of the PX7 Primal Flow formula. Every possible base has been covered. You'll not only reverse the issues you have now, this is also bulletproof armor for your future health and an exciting, energetic sex life for years and decades to come. At this point, you're wondering how to get your hands on this. Just know, the opportunity you're seeing on this page won't last long. The proprietary blend that I mentioned a moment ago, which is needed to fully activate the formula, includes ingredients that often run out of stock. Then there's the unique ingredient from Madagascar. It took Mike months to negotiate a deal for a bulk amount, and with supplies of PX7 Primal Flow beginning to run low, we can't say when another batch will become available. You can try buying each individual ingredient on its own and mixing your own blend, but it would be hard and time-consuming for you to measure the dosages correctly. Too much of one ingredient and too little of another will spoil the chain reaction effect, and without it, your body will continue to produce DHT. the toxic invader that is murdering your testosterone, causing your unnecessary urge to pee, and giving you discomfort and sleepless nights, and even thinning your hair. This is why we recommend you choose at least 3 bottles of PX7 Primal Flow. Yet looking at our order history, our happiest and most satisfied customers choose the 6-month option that you see below. They took the best possible discount, which you may never see again, and the 6-bottle solution was what they needed to enjoy the maximum benefits. It's time to grab this chance to flush out and destroy the DHT building up inside of you. You'll do so knowing that at the same time, you're guarding your body for decades to come. This means you can forget about expensive and side effect-filled treatments that only provide temporary relief from your symptoms, instead of giving your body the ammunition it needs to wipe them out for good. So what would this be worth to you? $297? Because that's what it would cost you to purchase each ingredient on its own for just 30 days worth of formula, if all the ingredients are available, which they might not be. Or would you rather spend thousands of dollars on dangerous surgery that could permanently ruin your sex life? I know when you consider your options, $297 should seem like a steal to you. It's far less than what you'd pay for doctor visits, constant blood tests, or fancy health food groceries that you don't enjoy eating. And it's even more of a no-brainer bargain when you consider it takes our manufacturing facility up to 3 months to source and produce just a single batch of PX7 Primal Flow, and to make sure each capsule contains the purest forms of every ingredient. But supplies are limited, and it could be months before some of these ingredients can be included again. By then, this formula may be in the hands of a major health conglomerate. They're trying to buy it out right now, and Big Pharma is on their side, which means that when you see PX7 Primal Flow in the future, it will probably be a watered-down version without some of the key active ingredients for double or triple the price. This is why I must urge you to grab this opportunity now. Choose your money-saving package to get started. And I'm so confident you'll experience fast, powerful results that I'm not just going to promise your success, I'm going to literally guarantee them. When you try PX7 Primal Flow today, you're covered by a 60-day, no questions asked, 100% money-back guarantee. Take it for a test drive. And remember this, you are risking nothing. If trying out PX7 Primal Flow doesn't turn out to be the best decision you've ever made, or if you change your mind for any reason whatsoever, just let us know anytime in the next 60 days. Our 24/7 customer support team is always standing by. There's simply zero risk on your part. The only risk you could possibly face is the one of regret if you miss this one-time only opportunity to experience this life-changing formula. You've got 60 days, 2 full months, to test drive the powerful impact this formula will have on your health, energy, appearance, relationships, and sexual drive and pleasure. Then decide. Once you select your money-saving package, you will submit your refundable deposit through our secure order page. Your payment details and personal information will be kept completely confidential because our order page is encrypted with the latest 256-bit encryption technology. To further protect your privacy, nothing about PX7 Primal Flow will appear on your credit card or bank statement. The only thing that will show up will be a charge from ClickBank, which is the secure payment processor that we use. They process over 100,000 secure transactions daily. But you do need to act now, because if you exit this page without grabbing this opportunity, you might be saying goodbye to it forever. And I know that in my case, the benefits of PX7 Primal Flow have gone far beyond my enhanced sex drive, bedroom performance, and an incredible sense of relief from my bladder discomfort. This has truly made me feel like a man again and rewound my relationship so that my wife and I feel like we're on our honeymoon again. Now, Cindy treats me like her king. She not only takes care of me, she takes extra good care of herself since she wants to look her sexy best. Maybe because she sees the new alpha me getting looks from other women. I swear, ever since I started having a lot of sex again, I give off a type of confidence that other females notice. It's like I'm giving off a scent that they pick up on. I'll never cheat on my wife, but hey, I don't mind the attention. And when it's time for romance with my wife, instead of not feeling it or worrying about going soft, I deliver like a champion every time. No more embarrassing limpness, no more lame excuses, just rock-hard performances. So tell me, can you honestly say that your woman feels 100% satisfied and fulfilled with you? Are you really okay not feeling secure and confident in your manliness, all because you suffer from a common, fixable problem that you have the power to reverse right now? We both know the answer to these questions. Select your money-saving package below, and once you complete your checkout on the next page, your package will be shipped to you immediately. Take PX7 Primal Flow for a test drive, and remember, you are risking nothing. Take advantage of today's 100% risk-free opportunity and lock in your supply. I look forward to hearing your success story very soon.